So I'm back with another Amazon Renewed video, and this time I'm taking on the most expensive Amazon Renewed product ever, or at least I should say when this device first came out, it's the most expensive one ever. It's the Z Fold 2. I've actually reviewed this phone on my channel when it very first came out, and I was really hoping it would hit Amazon Renewed, and wow, it did. In under a year, the Z Fold 2 is on Amazon Renewed. Now, if you're new to Amazon Renewed, don't worry about it. I'm gonna get you caught up. If you know what Amazon Renewed is and you're hyped about this, hit that like button right now because I know you're super hyped to find out if it's worth buying the Galaxy Z Fold 2 on Amazon Renewed. And I'll tell you all about it right after this.
This is, you listening to Travis.
What up, players? Welcome back. And for all you new people, welcome. My name's Travis and I do tech videos every single week and have a blast doing them. If that sounds like fun to you, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Anything I talk about will be in the description below. But for now, let's just get into the video. Now, I've talked about Amazon Renewed multiple times on this channel and tons of people love this series. If you are new to the series, I'll leave a link to a playlist below where you can check out all the different devices that I've reviewed from Amazon Renewed. I mean, lots of things, headphones and phones and all the other things. And it's a really cool program by Amazon. I'm going to explain it to you. I mean, I could explain it to you right now, but I've done such a good job the last time I did it. I'm just going to show you that. So if you're new to Amazon Renewed, this is what it is. Amazon Renewed is a program by Amazon where you can go on and buy older flagship phones for a really good price, at least most of the time. One of the cool things about it is these are products that are sold by third-party sellers that have a specific guarantee that they look new and their battery capacity is at least 80%. So that means you're getting a phone that's in pretty darn good shape and should function for quite a while. But one of the biggest draws about Amazon Renewed is the fact you have 90 days to return it if for some reason you don't like it, which of course is much longer than it is for pretty much any other way of buying a phone new. I mean, typically if you buy a phone used, you have no kind of return policy. If you buy a phone new, it's usually about 14 days. You get 90 with Amazon Renewed. But here's what's interesting. Since the last time I did one of these Amazon Renewed videos, they've actually added something new. Amazon themselves now sell Amazon Renewed phones. Now here's the thing. This was not happening when I started this series. It was just third-party sellers selling older devices that they made sure were of those standards. Now Amazon is doing it, but they're charging more, and you might wonder, why is that? This particular listing is really interesting because not only do you get a better battery capacity, a guaranteed 90% or more, but you have a year to return it. So yeah, you might spend upwards of $100 more per that phone, but you're getting another 9 months of return policy. So yes, you're getting essentially a used product, but with all types of cool guarantees. Now, in the case of the Z Fold 2, you're getting the Z Fold 2 and a power brick, at least the one that I got. And by the way, I get a lot of people asking me which seller to buy this from. I'll leave a link in the description below, not only where you can buy it and which exact seller you're going to want to get this from, especially if you want one in this quality. Now, that's the thing that I was most interested in. Now, I've had great experiences with Amazon Renewed before. All of my phones have come in really good shape. But as you know, the Z Fold has a very, well, let's just say unusual inner screen where it's not your typical Gorilla Glass. So I was really interested to see what type of scratches or whatever damage I might see on this phone. And I was pleasantly surprised. Much has been the case for all the other phones I've gotten from this particular seller, and not really, to be honest, Amazon Renewed in general. It was perfect. Like even the inside, the only thing you can see is the little fold in the middle, which you would see on a brand new one. I was blown away. But again, it goes along with this program. They are supposed to look brand new, and they did. And as a matter of fact, when I first got my Z Fold, I wanted the blue spine on mine, but I didn't want to wait the extra weeks for it. But now it's right here, and it's just as beautiful as I thought it would be. So long story short, as of the making of this video, this is now about almost half the price of what it was when it released. So a lot of the things that I talked about when this first came out still apply. How good the phone is and some other things that I think about it. And then, of course, at the end, I'll have to tell you whether or not I think it's worth getting now that the Z Fold 3 is out. With the Galaxy Fold 3 now out, you might be wondering, well, is there even a purpose for the Z Fold 2? I say yes. Obviously, if you don't want to spend all the money on the Fold 3, the Fold 2 is a very capable device. Now, I said this in my initial review. I don't really consider this a phone. Let me see if I can explain. But before I explain, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can check all of these other Amazon Renewed product videos I put out, as well as some other videos that I have coming out. Make sure you hit it subscribe right now I'll wait. One of the things I mentioned when I very first reviewed this phone was that when it's folded, it's kind of less than a smartphone, and when it's unfolded, it's kind of more than a smartphone. And almost at no point does this ever feel like a smartphone. Of course, it has the functionality of any smartphone, but because it's folded and really narrow, trying to type on this thing, while not impossible, especially for someone with large hands like mine, is just not exactly comfortable. Of course, unfolded, it's actually quite comfortable, but then at that point, it's not exactly compact. So you never really get the smartphone experience out of this, but it doesn't mean that's a bad thing. I think this is something new and more interesting. When the Fold series of phones were initially announced, I said this should be the new version of the Galaxy Note. Give it S Pen support, and you're a productivity powerhouse. And that is absolutely what this thing is. With things like DeX and the unfolded screen and the ability to do multi-screen things and have all types of beautiful space to work with, if you own a business and you want to be able to have something that works really well on the road and be able to really take great notes, do some productivity, this is really a great device for that. Again, at almost $2,000 when it came out, it seemed a little high. But now on Amazon Renewed, it's right in there. Plus, you get the 90 days of return policy. So for me, when it's folded, it is kind of a notification and quick hit type of situation, for me anyway. Like, you can do some quick things, you can get some stuff done, but you don't really want to spend a lot of time with it folded. At least with the Z Fold 2, there's a lot more space than with the original Fold. But even so, like, it's a kind of a quick hit, let me put it away type scenario. So I like that that option is there. Really, this thing is all about being unfolded and being able to use it in that manner. And at that point, again, I feel like it's great for reading books, watching videos, playing games, all types of things, doing productivity to the most. So the question is that who you are? Do you need to get stuff done? The battery life on this thing is amazing. You can get 2 days out of it, especially if you're not using it every single minute of the day, but the battery life has been absolutely incredible for me. And it just reminds me when I first purchased this phone almost a year ago, how much of an interesting and transformative experience it is. If you've never used a Fold, I'm going to tell you there's nothing like it. You may fall in love with it, but there are some things you need to keep in mind when you're using a device like this. Despite the fact when this thing came out, it was almost $2,000, the camera system wasn't exactly $2,000 worthy. Like, it was fine. It looked fine. It was fine. But to me, nothing about it screamed $2,000. Like, it wasn't better. It didn't have any kind of better picture quality or video quality. It was just whatever the previous flagship had. They just slapped it on the back of this thing. All the money you're spending is the technology of this thing being able to fold, which is cool, I suppose. But now with the price range closer to normal flagships, your question is this something for me? Well, I'll tell you right now, if you are not used to thick boy phones, you are not going to like this thing. Because when it's folded, which is most of the time, this thing is thick as hell, and you can knock somebody out with it. I'm not lying. You could literally come up behind them, clunk them on the head. And I mean, maybe that's a good thing. And while there are now cases readily available for this thing, which was not the case when it was released, I still get nervous when I open this thing up in a public place, just hoping that nothing falls on the screen while I'm using it, whether it be food, water, keys, or anything. I know that this thing already lived a life before I got it, and there's no scratches on it, which is amazing. But that doesn't mean it won't happen to you, as there's plenty of people out there that have had these devices and ended up with scratches on them. And it typically happens on the inside. The outside seems to be really solid. Never had any problem with that. That feels more like a normal phone. But the other thing is, because this thing is so heavy, if you do drop it, the chances of you damaging it are actually higher than most smartphones, whether you have a case on it or not. This thing is heavy. It's going to take more damage, especially if it falls face first. And while I've always talked about having an uninterrupted display being my favorite, which means the Fold 3 is the thing that I would want, some people don't care. The little punch hole in the top of this unfolded screen is probably so small that most of you won't notice. For me, I like not being able to see that. And really, how often are you using the front-facing camera on this thing anyway? Again, I believe the people that are going to use this phone and use it successfully are productivity-minded people. Even students could use this because you can take it into school, not have to have your laptop or tablet, and boom, there you go. And now with wireless DeX, you can come home, put it on the charger, pull up your television, and have essentially a desktop experience. This is perfect for business people. I just can't say it enough. And students alone. If you're really into tech, I guess, yeah, you can get on board with this thing as well, but I just don't know that it makes sense for most people, because at $1,000-ish, while it's great for the technology, the reality is you've got to take into account this thing is not a smartphone. I know people don't like when I say that. It's just been my experience. It's something more, something different. In some cases, something better. And in some cases, not. One other thing to keep in mind are the updates you will continue to receive from Samsung for the next couple of years. They've been doing a good job of doing that, which means some of the features you see on the Fold 3 will probably make their way onto the Fold 2. This has happened year after year where they announce something cool on the newer phone and then backwards compatible the previous generations of phones. So you might want to hang tight and see what type of the features that you saw on the Fold 3 that will eventually make their way to the Fold 2. In which case, you might not be making much of a sacrifice at all when it comes to getting the Z Fold 2 if you were thinking about getting the 3. Now, again, I'll just say this one more time. The trade-in deals for the 3 right now are really good. So obviously, if you take advantage of that, you might be able to get it for less than this, but you're not going to get a 90-day return policy. That much is for sure. So if you're looking for the best pictures and the best typing experience while it's folded, I don't think you're going to get that out of this device. But you're not spending as much as you were when this thing came out. So it's a lot more level. It's more along the lines of the Galaxy S21 Ultra as far as the price goes. I actually did that in Amazon Renewed recently. You should check out the link in the description and in the end screen. And which would I go for now? The Z Fold or the Galaxy S21 Ultra, the one I just reviewed? Now, both of them being on Amazon Renewed means the prices are slightly down, but the prices between these two is super close, believe it or not. It's actually kind of crazy. Right now, I would go for the Z Fold 2. If you're asking between the Fold 3 and this, that's a little bit harder. It really depends on if you can take advantage of the trade-in values for the Fold 3. If you cannot, this is a darn good deal, remembering that you still get up to 90 days of return policy on Amazon Renewed. And that's the one thing that really kind of differentiates this from any other smartphone that's out there, and especially when you're on Amazon Renewed. You have a long time to really test this out and see if it fits your lifestyle. And maybe you're just interested in getting into folding phones and it doesn't have to be your primary phone. If that's the case, you're probably going to love this. But again, unlike buying this brand new where you maybe have 14 days to make your decision, with Amazon Renewed, you have a lot more time. So even if you don't like it in the first couple of weeks, or it's something you're having a hard time getting used to, because I'll tell you right now, this is hard to get used to. This it takes a little bit. It's fun, it's super cool, but it is a little something to get used to because the actual, kind of draw for this phone is for it to be open, not closed, because it's not as good of a smartphone closed. And all of those advantages, in my mind, make this one of the coolest purchases right now on Amazon Renewed. If you can get it for a good deal, I say grab it. The link's in the description below. Check it out. Leave me a comment if you go ahead and buy it, and let me know, did you like getting the Z Fold 2, or did you want to wait and just get the Fold 3? Listen, in about half a year or so, Fold 3 is going to be in Amazon Renewed. I guess I'll have to do this video all over again. I'm actually kind of excited for that. I'll see you next time. Peace and love.